Hey, good morning. I know it's early. My work schedule has changed, so I currently do 410s now. So I'm Monday to Friday. So if you're not catching this now, please catch it later. For those of you that are into astrophotography, you're going to find this quite interesting. I found the process quite difficult, but again, it's not easy to acquire this data. So everybody knows about the James Webb Space Telescope. It's essentially replacing the Hubble. It's a much better telescope, much bigger telescope, and the detail that it can acquire as far as looking into the past is absolutely phenomenal. So there's a website out there, and I managed to get an opportunity to process the Eagle Nebula from this data, which is public domain. Anybody can download it and play with it and share it. You don't have any copyright to the taking of the image, but because it's public domain, you can play with it and put your own spin on what you think it should look like, which is rather subjective. So it's pretty cool. I'm not going to go into the processing of it, and I'll be transferring this particular stream over to YouTube. Basically, I'm going to show you how I got the data, how I acquired the data, and then what my final product was. And there's some really cool things about this nebula that I've never known before. I compared it to the Hubble version, and although it's similar in what I'm going to discuss, some of the cool things about this really makes your mind wander. I mean, it's like laying down on the ground on a grassy or a sandy beach or a grassy knoll in the middle of the summer and looking up at the clouds and seeing race cars go by and stuff like that. So I've managed to pick out about 8 things that just pop, which have all been verified by my wife, so I'm not going crazy. And I'll show those to you as well when we get near to the end. All right, so let's just get right into how I managed to acquire the data here. All right, so you're going to have to go to a website, and the website is mast.sci.edu. I'll try to post the link if I can figure out how to do that. If I can't, please send me a text and I will send off the link to you. This is basically the main depository where we're going to be able to access the public domain data for the not only the Hubble Space Telescope, but the James Webb Space Telescope as well, and other science missions that they've done. All we're really concerned with on this page is this advanced search button right here. Okay, so we're just going to click on that. Now, there's 2 boxes that we're really concerned with. One is the object name or position, which is right here, and the other one is the mission. Okay. Now, there are other ways of doing this where you can download calibrated versus uncalibrated data. I attempted them, and unfortunately, you need to be running a Unix type system or Linux type system on your computer. There's emulators, there's ways of doing it. I just personally found the process far too complicated for me. This is way easier, although identifying the different filters is kind of hard. You have to go by the well, I'll show you here. It's easier to show you than it is to explain it. So in this mission, what we want to do is we want to select JWST. Now we can select Show Fewer, we can select Show More, we can scroll down to, oops, JWST. It's right there. All right, now, or you can enter the text in and hit enter. Either way, it works just fine. So you notice I don't have my green screen on this morning, so I've kind of zoomed it in a little bit. It's my camera. I had it in 16 by 9, but my green screen was a bit too short, so I changed it back to the standard size. So we're searching here for this here, and it's going to bring up quite a few items, but just for the sake of an argument here, JWST, put it in the top, hit enter, and it's going to find some records here. Now, it's doing a search up here. This can take a while depending on how many people are trying to access this site or this data. Yesterday it took about 3 or 4 minutes. Today I don't know. The next thing we're going to, and I've already downloaded this, so if the lag is too long on this, just to shorten the video up, I'll just move right on. So under object name or position, that's where we want to put in our whatever we're searching for, M16 or any other data. You're going to have to use, I think it's NGC. Let me just do a search here real quick. Because you know what? My memory, I don't retain a lot of stuff. So let's just go with Eagle Nebula. And in here somewhere we should be able to find out, let's see. It's going to take us to the Hubble. That's not what I'm looking for. You can find it here. Here we go. NGC 6611, okay, is the Eagle Nebula. NGC 6611. So here we're going to go NGC 6611, and we're going to hit enter. Now, it's still looking for the records from the mission itself, so hopefully this doesn't take too long. We'll give it about a minute, and if it doesn't do it, we'll just go straight to the download data that I've already done. I'm hoping that we can get the next box to pop up here because it's pretty important as well. So here we are, searching. You wouldn't think that 8 o'clock Pacific time that there'd be a lot of people on this, but it's probably pretty busy. Okay, there we go. Found 13 records. Okay, so mission, JWST, object name, and I tried searching by M16. You can't. You got to use NGC 6611. All we want to do now is we just want to hit on the search. So we click this button, and in a few minutes, this will bring up the 13 items that it found, and you're going to want to download all of them. It's going to take a while, and then you can sort through which images you want to use to combine to create your interpretation of this particular nebula. Now, this is the one, by the way, that when Hubble first took pictures of it, it came out as they called it the Pillars of Creation. Okay, so the data that we're looking for here is going to be, and it's going to be real easy to sort through this. We're looking for the near cam data, which is down here. So let's just select near cam. We can get rid of all that other stuff. Now, each one of these is a particular filter. And if, oh, here we go, right here. So F817 or 187, 444, 200. These are different filters. So you're going to want to download all of them, and then you can sort through and find out which ones you want to use. I did the same thing, and all you got to do is click the download link right here, and it will download it to a folder. And that's it. Once you've done that, you actually have access to that particular image and that particular filter that they shot. So what I did here is I downloaded them, and they come in a zip form, so you'll have to unzip them. I just created a file called JWST, and each one of these is my downloads. And if we go into them, you can see there's another folder, and then you go into JWST, and 2 more folders. Looking for the folder with the filter name on it, which is up there. And now there's 2 files. There's a segment fits file and the I2D file. The one you want to load into the program that I use PixInsight is going to be the I2D file. So we'll just click on that. And now it's going to load everything contained in that particular file for that image. So as you can see here, these are, I'll just stretch them a bit here. This is the passes that it took. Every one of these is data that that is part of the file package. But we're only concerned with this guy right here, the very first image. So that just happens to be, I believe this is the 03. In that, I'd have to check that wavelength again. It was a little confusing. I really wish they labeled it LRGB or SHO, but they didn't. They're actually using the proper wavelength as far as what the filter is obtaining. So this is the data. Now this is, of course, it's not calibrated. Once I got all my pictures together, I had to go through and I had to calibrate them. I also had to register them because one of the images that I downloaded was an incorrect size in comparison to the other one. So we had to re-register everything and get everything to fit nice and tight. I'm not going to go through that at this particular time. I just wanted to demonstrate how I acquired the data. Once you have the data, everything else is subjective. You might be using Photoshop, you might be using AstroPixel processor, which I use both of those as well. But how you get there is entirely up to you. So my two final images in this, which turned out quite nice, was the final view here. This is a semi-starless version. Some of the stars and the diffraction spikes on the James Webb Space Telescope I found to be hard to deal with. So there's a lot of videos out there on processing these, so I don't want to get into that. Again, it was more or less about just finding out how to acquire that data and to play with it. And then I got a really cool thing I want to go through this image for you in another program, just so I can point some stuff out, because you know, there's the possibility that maybe I'm just losing my bloody mind. I don't know, but I'm seeing things that maybe aren't there. Anyways, I did two versions of this. This is the semi-starless version, which I found to be quite nice. The detail is phenomenal. I did add a bit of grain to it. I like a bit of grain in most of my images, and I do that with another program. And I'll walk you through the other programs that I use. I'll show you exactly what I use typically on most images. And then I did the starred version, which I kind of like it better. The only problem is that when I did this version, I'd cropped it and I had forgot to save the cropped stars that I'd removed. So I had to put this back together manually, and it's not the greatest. I've got some overlaying here. I see a lot of problems with this image. Most people wouldn't, but if you're like me, you know, if you do a comparison between the starless, the semi-starless, and the starred, you're going to see that there's some anomalies, and that happened during the overlaying. I didn't quite get it right in some areas. So again, I'm not the greatest at this. I mumble through it, and if I go half a winter without doing any processing, I got to start right from square one, which is why I keep all my tools on the side of my PixInsight screen, and I basically work them in that order as best I can. So let's get right on to the really cool part. Now that you know how to acquire the data, and you see what you can do with the data, which again is my interpretation, let's get into some of the tools that I use to do this. So PixInsight is primarily my tool for image processing. However, when I'm calibrating and creating my initial set of images that I'm going to process in PixInsight, I default back to AstroPixel processor, which is down here. AstroPixel processor I use first to get all the calibration data together. Then I move over and I process it in PixInsight. And then once I'm done with PixInsight, I run it through a variety of different programs here. Now, I love the Topaz programs. I have the whole set. I've got the denoise, the gigapixel, the sharpen, the AI, and the Topaz adjust. So they all are different in a way, and yet they're all the same in the way. For me, getting the Topaz package kind of replaced Photoshop, and it kind of replaced the Adobe products, because I found that the Adobe products, having to buy monthly subscriptions, just wasn't for me. The Topaz products, they're a wham bam. You buy them once, you own them forever. So yeah, great thing. And then I use Photoshop for adding my signature. Now you'll notice I didn't add my signature to the to this particular one. I could have added my signature to it, and then at the bottom put, you know, processed by, you know, myself, and you know, and made reference to, you know, that this is James Webb. But it's just an image. It's public domain. Anybody can do what they want with it. So this is the starred version, and here's the really cool part. I want to look at this, and you guys be honest with me, because I'm either losing my bloody mind or I need to stop drinking. One of the two. So let's just look at this in some detail here. Now you'll notice I've added some grain to this, and I actually do this with this program down here. Right here I go and I put the grain in it. Kind of a cool thing about this is it just gives me, it just gives it a bit of texture, which I like. And again, personal preference. You can do whatever you want with your image. Totally up to you. All right, let's do this. I'm going to actually move over to the non-start image just for clarity here. And let's see. I think that's it there. All right. Okay, so this is the one that I posted, and I like this one the best. I did go in and clean up some of the red around the stars, but let's just walk through this image here. I'm going to point out a bunch of things, and I need you to tell me if I'm crazy. My wife agreed with me that what I've seen is actually what I saw, but I think she's biased. She already thinks I'm crazy, so she's just going to say whatever to make me happy, because I am crazy. So one thing I noticed here is when you're a kid and you're laying down, and you're looking at stuff like clouds, stuff like that. You always see things. You see things that aren't there, and some people see them, along with you. Some people they just agree with you, and some people they don't see them. So I just want to show you a few things in this image, and you tell me what you think you see in the comments. That would be great. And again, once this is done, I'm going to shoot this up onto YouTube, and I'll show you the channel there in a second here. And this is also, of course, being streamed on my Twitch. So all you guys that are following me on Twitch, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Please check out my Instagram as well as my YouTube. My Instagram is where I post all the raw images, and YouTube is I'm going to start posting videos on how I process this stuff, which I think is rather interesting for some of us geeky people. Anyways, the first thing I want to point out is right here at the bottom. I don't know. Does that look like an alligator or a crocodile's head with the snout and the eyes, the mouth coming down? Okay, that one's rather subjective, and maybe you're not seeing it. I'm okay with that. But we're going to move up the image, and this is going to get pretty freaky. At least it did for me. So as we move up the image here, okay, two things pop out. Number one, my wife thinks this looks like a bear, a polar bear, or if you look at it the right way, it's an elephant. And again, this is subjective. You might not see that, right? And I'm going to show you the more obscure ones first, and then we're going to get into some of the ones that really are identifiable. You go down here, this particular here looks like the face of a seal. Eyes, you've got the snout. Could be a bear's head, could be a seal's head. Am I crazy? I don't know. Okay, this one maybe, maybe not. This one I definitely see the seal in there, and I can see it right away. The thing is once I point some of this out, I don't know if you're left brain or right brained. I don't know how it works, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. So this image is forever changed for me. Let's just move up just a little bit more. Okay, so we're going to get up here towards the end, and right here, looking kind of sideways, there's one eye. The other eye is obscured. We've got the nose. This part here comes down here, and then the mouth. Is that not like a puppy dog? Kind of sideways? I think it's a dog. Again, you tell me if I'm going completely nuts. All right, let's go over to another section of the image here. And we're just going to work our way up this side. All right, there's only about three more that I'm going to point out. Okay, so this one to me seems very obvious. This guy right here. Eyes, nose, the neck, part of a wing, and the tail. Puff the Magic Dragon. Okay, Puff the Magic Dragon I think is a generational thing. You got to be in your 50s to have listened to the Irish Rovers. But I think that looks like a dragon. Okay, Lord of the Rings, not Lord of the Rings. Just slipped my tongue. Doesn't matter. So there we go. We have the dragon in this image. Then if we look a little closer, right here, there's the ear, nose. There's part of the horn. Sorry, the nose is here. Eyes, nose, mouth. That's a sheep or a goat. It clearly looks like a sheep or a goat. I'm positive of that. Now, if you've been following, you're probably looking around on your own, and I probably haven't mentioned it yet, and you're thinking about it, but do you see the dog looking at you? It's a dog with one of those, the big, long, furry ears that come down, the long hair. That dog is right here. There's size, there's his hair, nose, neck. Come on. I can't be the only one seeing this stuff, right? All right, let's move up the image just a little bit further. We go up a little bit more, and then right here, right there, do you not see like a Bigfoot? There's his eyes, there's his forehead, there's his nostrils, there's his mouth, or an old man with a beard. Right? Okay, let's move over to this side here. Two eyes, a nose. Guy's got his mouth open. Just saying. Show you one more. Right here, there's the ear. There's the forehead. There's an eye and an eye. There's the nose. That's a cat. So we have right here, we've got Puff the Magic Dragon. We've got a dog staring back at us. We've got a cat. And we got the abominable snowman or Bigfoot. And a sheep. I just figured it out. The Eagle Nebula, or the Pillars of Creation, is where our pets go when they die. It has to be. It's just too bizarre. Okay, so coincidence? Maybe. My imagination? Probably 80%. But I'll tell you what, when I spotted those, I had a great time laughing at myself. It was pretty cool. Anyways, that's all I wanted to show you about this image. I hope you like the image. I hope you take some of the information about how to acquire the data and go ahead and download it yourself for those astronomy buddies of mine, and start playing with this stuff, because we're in the middle of 4 months worth of clouds and winter weather, so we're not going to get much observing in, and we're definitely not going to be accumulating any more data unless we're really lucky. So it's always fun to keep up your skills and hone your skills practicing with data coming from a telescope that is so far outside of our atmosphere that it's unworldly. Okay, real quick, I just want to introduce you to my Instagram page, which is right here. Now I posted that up as well, and you'll notice that if you just go to @TerryADR or just search me on Instagram, I've got a lot of postings in here that are astronomy related. It's 99% astronomy related, and if you're interested in any of these photos, I'm going to be starting to put these photos up for sale on Pinterest, I believe. But for a little time now, if anybody's interested in a photo or a print, let me know. I would be happy to send you off the full-size image. That way you can send it off to London Drugs or to wherever you want, and get your own print to hang on your own wall. That's going to be probably for the next month or two until after Christmas. And then once we get into New Year, I'm hoping that I can turn this hobby into something that's generating a little bit of an income. My YouTube channel, same thing. Again, just go to YouTube, search for Terry Adrian. I couldn't come up with a clever title. I tried to use Terry's Astronomy or Astrophotography. Apparently there's 1,000 other guys out there with my name that are doing this, so it made it difficult. On my YouTube page, I also have my links to my Instagram as well as my Twitch account. And you know what? It's not bad. 43 views, 80 views. I've only had this up for a couple of weeks, so I'm quite happy with it. This current video that I'm doing now, I'm going to be putting up there as well, so that'll be video number 4. And then I'm going to work on processing only over to my Twitch account. Those of you who follow me on Twitch, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. My Twitch account. Those of you who follow me on Twitch, we're going to get rid of that because it's echoing. But you know, I simply use the Twitch mainly for flight sim and stuff like that. We're going to start streaming Elite Dangerous. I'm hopefully getting some friends of mine involved in that too, which would be quite nice. But there you have it. So that's it for this particular stream. I hope you've learned something as far as how to acquire this data. That was the important intent. And you've had an insight into what my imagination is like. Crazy or not, I'm seeing that stuff, and it's real. So till next time, you guys have fun, and clear skies.